It's not your lucky day, Anna.
Don't buy a lottery ticket today.
Get it all over with today.
Yeah. טוב, אנחנו לייב פה באינסטגרם של האיגוד. כמו שאתם רואים, זה מתקן האימונים פה באיינדהובן. אנחנו נעשה את הסיבובים במסלול 3. אתם רואים, יש פה מקפצה, עשינו ביום שלישי זינוקים. לצערי לא צילמתי מספיק ולא העלינו את הקליניקה הזאת, אבל עשינו ביום שלישי פה זינוקים. זה מקפצה שממש בודקת את כל הזוויות שלך. יש פה מצלמות לאורך כל הבריכה. אז המקפצה בעצם בודקת גם את הכוח שאתה משקיע עם הידיים, עם הרגליים, את הזווית שלך. בעזרת המצלמות כמובן אפשר להסתכל על זוויות כניסה. יש גם כל הבריכה מתחת למים מרושתת במצלמות, אם אתם יכולים לראות פה. אוקיי, אז עשינו ביום שלישי זינוקים, עכשיו אנחנו נעשה סיבובים. אוקיי, סיבובים, אנחנו מתחילים עכשיו. בהתחלה לא יהיה ממש ניתוח, בעיקר אנחנו נסתכל על הסיבובים שהם עושים. כל דקה שחיין אחר עושה, 3 סיבובים סך הכל, זה בערך 9-10 דקות, שגם אני וגם דייב וגם קים ברקין שהייתה המאמנת של קריסטי קובנטרי, אנחנו ניתן כמה הערות שאנחנו חושבים, ואחרי זה ניכנס למשרד ונעשה את הניתוח המלא עם המומחה. הנה. זה קיפר הראשון שלנו, אפוסטולוס קריסטו, קיפר גב, רחוק מהקיר. Kim, your first comment.
Oh my God. That is
I put you on the spot.
Hot in here, yeah. I'm too flustered, worried about Anna.
Okay.
No, I'm interested to see Tolis underwater.
Yeah.
Because he had such a good line from his dive, and we talked a lot about that. And this analysis is just incredible. Like, it's so awesome to have things broken down, and then for them to be able to see themselves right away and have different. I think we're talking about similar things as coaches as these guys, but to hear it in a little bit of a different way.
Yeah,
I think for an athlete is always really interesting.
I agree.
You have to wait. You have to go a little bit early. You really have to leave at 28:29 on the boat.
Okay, Christian, don't be late, huh?
Exactly. Stop the time that you're always inside. Just wait until the next one.
Abba. Probably because they stopped recording at the right time. אוקיי, הבא בתור, קריסטיאן גולומב, סגן אלוף עולם ב-50 חתירה. אמנם קיפר זה לא הדבר הכי חשוב בשבילו, בבריכה ארוכה אין לו קיפר, אבל עכשיו ב-ISL שאנחנו בבריכה קצרה, זה מאוד חשוב גם בשבילו. בואו נסתכל. אתם רואים את השעון שרץ מאחורה, כל דקה בעצם הם מתחילים, ב-30 כל דקה. קריסטיאן. Nice. Closer, a little bit close. מי ששואל איפה נסטיה, אז הנה נסטיה פה ברקע מתאמנת עדיין. כשהיא תסיים את האימון שלה היא גם תצטרף לסיבובים. הנה מי שרוצה לראות, נסטיה פה שוחה גב. נסטיה, תעשי שלום לקהל הישראלי בבית. עכשיו אנה, שחיינית יווניה, אלופת אירופה בבריכה ארוכה, סגנית אלופת אירופה בבריכה קצרה. זאת ששוחה זאת נסטיה, למי ששואל. Let's go, אנה. שחיינית פרפר עשתה בשליחים פה 55-9. The pool is in Eindhoven, in the Netherlands. הבריכה בהולנד, באיינדהובן. אוקיי, הבריכה של ה-ISL. אנחנו חוזרים לאפוסטולוס. זה כאלה 10 דקות שאני יותר מצלם לכם. מי שרוצה לשאול שאלות זה הזמן. אחרי זה בזמן הניתוח זה יהיה קצת יותר בעייתי השאלות. כי אני לא רוצה להפריע להם בהסברים. הנה, אפוסטולוס עוד פעם בגב. בואו נראה אם הוא קצת יתקרב. הרבה יותר טוב, לפי מה שנראה לי. אתם יכולים כמובן להגיב את דעתכם. אני יכול גם להגיד לו אם יש מישהו שרוצה, שיש לו איזשהו משהו מעניין להגיד. הבריכה כרגע שאנחנו מתאמנים בה זאת בריכת 50 מטר, כן? של 4 מסלולים. והבריכה שמתחרים בה היא בריכת 25. אני לא אצלם את הבריכה שאנחנו מתחרים בה, כי כרגע אנחנו פה. אבל התחרויות כן, ב-25, השחרור וחלק מהאימונים בבריכת 50. אנחנו חוזרים לקריסטיאן. Yeah. טוב, זה היה מאוד 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 קרוב. מאוד צפוף היה לו שם. תנועה אחת פחות לקיר וזה היה קיפר ממש 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 טוב. Christian, one stroke less. One stroke less. Too close to the wall.
Anna, you're next, no?
Yeah.
Anna, you can go on 25, slightly earlier.
הנה נסטיה. אוקיי, אנחנו חוזרים לאנה. איפה?
אנחנו
שווה.
הולכים לראות את הסיבובים לא מדהים.
אחרי זה אני אעשה איתך סלפי. הנה אנה בסיבוב פרפר. אני כמובן אשמח לתגובות מה אתם חושבים שיהיה פה קצת מעניין, אני גם יקריא אותם אם צריך.
מה זה 50?
אבל בגדול דעתי שהברכיים לא מגיעות מספיק מהר לחזה ושהיא מרימה את הראש מוקדם מדי. הנה נסטיה, תגידי שלום לצופים.
היי.
תגידי שלום, תגידי משהו, תני איזה תגובה. שאלו אם כיף שם, שאלו אם נחמד פה.
כן, כיף מאוד. זה משהו שאין לנו בארץ, פעם ראשונה שאני הולכת לנסות. סיבובים זה באמת משהו חלש אצלי, אז כדאי לשפר.
יופי.
וזהו.
תכף אנחנו נראה גם את נסטיה במים, ובטח אחרי זה בניתוח. ככה שיהיה לנו ניתוחים של כל מיני סיבובים. אנחנו חוזרים לאפוסטולוס, סיבוב גב אחרון, זה השלישי, 3 לכל אחד. עכשיו זה הסיבוב די טוב. מה שאנחנו עובדים איתו רוב הזמן זה על זה שהוא נכנס מאוד טוב לקיר, אבל הבעיה שלו זה שהוא הרבה פעמים דוחף את הקיר עוד לפני שהוא נגע בקיר. מה זה אומר? זה אומר שהוא עושה את הסיבוב מאוד מהר וגם מנסה לדחוף לפני שהוא שתל את הרגליים על הקיר. אז בואו נראה, אתם רואים פה אחרי שהשחיינים עושים את הסיבוב, יש פה מסך שהם יכולים לראות את הטלוויזיה. זה למשל הסיבוב של אנה. אנחנו יכולים, מקודם ראינו שהזמן שלה על הקיר, זה אומר הזמן מהרגע שהידיים נגעו בקיר עד הרגע שהרגליים עזבו את הקיר, היה שנייה 33. זה עוד פעם קריסטיאן. תכף יתחיל. איפה דייב? הוא הלך? תעשי גב חזה, לא? בואי נראה מה עושים בגב חזה. זה סיבוב גב של טוליס.
Dat is echt wel een aanwijzing. Hè? Als ze moeten in principe iets in huis nemen wat een beetje...
הנה דייב. הנה עכשיו גם דיוויד מרש מגיע, אז יהיה לנו גם עוד קצת תגובות על הסיבובים. לא רק אני אפרשן את הסיבובים. You're done, right? 3. What? No, I'm not timing anything. They're timing. They're timing everything.
Wait, what? Go.
Yes.
Yes. Back to breast.
Yes. I mean, really, let's have get on record all of them. Yeah. I mean, just don't go through a sequence. Just make sure you give your best one.
יאללה. אבל רגע. ב-25 כל פעם. צריך להגיד להם שימשיכו לצלם, צריך להגיד לדייב שזה. חכי שנייה, תכף הם יסבירו לך. Closer. And now she has to wait. She can go? Too late. נסטיה התחילה קצת מוקדם מדי. זה סיבוב...
That's good. You got the bend off the wall. Yeah.
סיבוב פרפר גב שלא צולם. נסטיה, כל פעם ב-25 לצאת. צריך להתחיל מהכיסא ולצאת ב-25. יש שם שעון? ב-25. לצאת קצת מאוחר מדי, אז הם לא תפסו את הצילום שלך בזה. את יכולה לנוח טיפה? בואי נצא ב-25, לא, אפילו לא הקרוב. את יכולה לצאת ב-25 הבא. אוקיי, אז...
As much as possible, I would say try to hold that steady. You guys can give feedback as to if he's moving around too much or what, so he can get a good shot.
Yeah.
The best stuff's going to come up in a little bit inside when the scientists review these. But this is her fly to back. She tends to arch coming off the wall. I think you'll see a lot better when she sees it herself. And I like to see her right hand be a little higher. Head was late getting in line too. And her tempo over kick's probably 0.6 instead of 0.5, which is more of a discipline issue than knowledge issue.
בגדול, בתרגום חופשי, יד ימין צריכה לעלות קצת יותר למעלה, הראש קצת מאחר, והקצב של הבעיטות איטי מדי. זה דעתו של דייב. תנוחי טיפה אבל. בסדר? אגב, אתם, כמו שדייב אמר מקודם, אתם יכולים לתת לי תגובות אם אני לא מצלם כמו שצריך, כי אני גם מסתכל תוך כדי, גם מדבר תוך כדי, אז תנו לי תגובות אם הצילום לא מספיק טוב.
הוא רוצה שאני אפרפר גם חזה.
חזה חתירה, אחד מכל דבר. ואולי קיפר אחד. אולי קיפר אחד. את עושה גם קיפרים. תתחילי עוד, כאילו כל 2 דקות תעשי. Yeah.
They're starting in here, so this will be more interesting for them.
עכשיו אני אכנס פנימה, כמובן שאחרי זה אנחנו גם נראה את כל הזינוקים של...
Let me tell you about this room here. The scientists are going to go through the turns, and they looked at thousands of people doing turns and looking at what the best patterns are. Most interesting what causes what happens during the force plate, because we don't normally have a force plate. So the amount they're pushing off the walls and the force they're getting. And I think it's force into alignment is really the key. You watch here, she goes off the wall, it's nice. See how she does that little, actually not as big arch she always does, but we don't want to see her lower her upper body as she comes off. So anyway, you're going to see a lot of the details, and we won't be able to talk in there because we want you to hear the scientists, but this will still be good stuff.
סיבוב גב חזה. ועכשיו אם נרצה אחרי כמה שניות הוא יופיע פה על המסך.
That's great. Let's watch one of this before then we'll go off
אוקיי.
from there.
אנחנו נחכה פה עכשיו כמה שניות שזה יעלה למסך, ואז אנחנו נתחיל בניתוח בפנים. כמובן אם יש לכם שאלות אז אפשר לשלוח בטקסט, אני מקסימום יענה בתגובות. אנחנו עכשיו בסיבוב גב חזה.
She early in her career got disqualified a lot for coming over, and lately she hasn't been getting disqualified because she's in lane 4 more often and they don't call lane 4 as much. But she's also, the key is that she's keeping her bicep behind her ear as she comes over, so she doesn't go across here. So it's a sort of visual call, so you want to look like you're going and you're really sweeping the wall, you're not trying to plant the wall, you're really just sweeping the wall as you go by. And they very seldom will make a
Let's look.
call on this. Here we go.
אתם רואים פה יש לנו גם קונטקט טיים, זה הזמן מהרגע שהיד נגעת שהרגליים עוזבות, אני אומר את זה עוד פעם. זה בסלו מושן, ההגעה שלה לקיר.
She should be coming over already. Right, arm behind her, right there. Yep.
I like how she goes down.
Yeah, she should be part of the rotation. The hand should go down and touch lower because of the rotation. Now she has to push up toward her stomach. That's actually a little bit more on her side. That could get a call, but it probably won't in her lanes. Good glide. She does a nice job gliding. In races, sometimes she cuts that glide because she runs out of oxygen. Now she's arching up. That isn't as good. You saw how her hands arched up.
And now it's breast to free.
Yeah.
And last one. דבר האחרון זה קיפר.
That was a nice turn. She did no pause there.
Yeah.
Too big a kick still.
But I mean, when she's going 100 freestyle, she's always stopping.
Let's jump in here.
אוקיי, אנחנו נכנסים עכשיו לחדר, תקשיבו למדען.
The question is it necessary to rotate very fast? Because what you do is to make yourself very small, to rotate fast, and then there is actually an over-exaggeration of the rotation speed, and you have to, in your back, compensate the fact that you want to be, that you want to slow down. You stretch to slow down, to place your feet and to push off. So what we think could be useful, you see?
So actually here, your back is already in a correct position, but your legs are not on the wall yet. So what you need to do is you need to compensate the extra rotation in your back. So you sort of over-arch your back.
And what we think that could be useful is when you start to turn, that you don't make this angle too small.
In your hip.
In your hip. Because if you would leave the hip a little bit more open, then you would touch instantly the wall, and you have a little bit, slightly less rotation speed, because you are already ready, but you can't push off. So if you open a little bit more your hip, you would have touched the wall slightly earlier, and you would be away quicker. That's a lot of swimmers do this because they teach you as a child. The smaller you are, the faster you rotate. But it's not about rotation, it's about pushing off quickly. That's one thing. And then the second is...
Yeah, what you maybe also what you do good, or what we see as something that most swimmers don't do well, but you do it well, is that you bring... Sometimes swimmers place their feet on the wall and then they start pushing. What you do is you actually start stretching already before you hit the wall. So it's one smooth movement from contact till pushing. So often swimmers do that not so well, but you in your turn it's really good.
So more like a trampoline landing than a stability landing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what you can do is first touch and then push, or you push already, let's say, in the air, and when you contact the wall, it's one move.
And then you get the benefit of the plyometric movement too.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit of the
Yeah.
extra benefit of the plyometric movement rather than
Yes.
The bounce, yeah.
So when you sometimes when we are standing with the back towards the pool, you can hear the ones that turn well because you hear
Impact.
impact.
Yeah.
And otherwise, for example, Femke did. She touched and then she went, so you didn't hear her turning. And other people turned and they were already pushing against the wall. And so that's you can listen. And then the second thing, what we thought to improve is to kick.
Yeah, well,
To kick earlier.
what we notice is, is
The
after
glide
start,
is-
after a start, of course, you enter with much more speed than what you push off in a turn. So your push off speed is maybe 2 to 2.5 meters per second. But
They are
what,
making it.
but what we measured is that almost instantly after the turn, your kick is more effective than the glide, let's say.
So what about the energy usage? Or you can, for if you glide versus the energy you're going to use to initiate the kick is
That's
Yeah,
always.
So this is the biomechanical.
biomechanical.
So the art of this is to figure out what is the
Right balance between both.
the right athletic balance between what's best for each athlete and this. But purely biomechanically, you propose that kicking immediately off the wall
Yes.
is probably faster,
Yes.
which I've heard, and that's some of the theories I'm hearing, and I'm like, well, okay, because I teach glide quite a bit just for saving energy. But yes,
But it can be
continue.
true,
You're the
But
biomechanist.
if
We're
you-
here for your
From a
lab.
mechanical point of view, we know that if you we have a
Tone
force
system.
meter.
Tone
So
system.
we have a force transducer in a cable. We put the swimmer on a cable. We pull him, for example, with 2 meters a second, and then we make him kick, all out kicking. And if then the resistance on the cable decreases, then you know, oh, this kick is effective with this speed. And then we put him at 2.1 meters per second, 2.2, 2.3 till 2 to 3 meters per second, and there is a break point where you are effective. And that we did, and then we saw that about 0.5 meters a second faster than you can swim, you are already effective. So that means if you can push off at 2.5 meters per second, and you
You
can
just
swim
start
2
kicking.
meters per second, then you start immediately. And they generate quite a bit of power. So we saw with everybody that they could win by kicking quick. That's what we, from biomechanics point of view. From physiology, we don't take into account in this. That's more the work to coaches say, if I glide a bit, maybe I have more power left on the last couple of strokes.
Do you have a camera for the next sequence? Or is this all-
Yes.
Good flexible ankles.
But I think it's big.
Yeah, that's what we have to check later. Then we do that we see what's best. What your skills for starting turns? That's not bad. Quite good.
What about you can go back to the amount, where he's going back and forth here, because it seems like it's more here and here, not even between back and front.
What do you mean, the angle of the arms?
Yeah, as he's pushing off, obviously you're going to be a little bit more like this because you're coming up,
Yeah.
but what is too much? Is this too much?
Yeah,
or you're good with this?
Yeah. Yeah, well, we maybe
Yeah,
can
that's-
say something about it. But the resistance in
That to back to neutral, then that back to neutral. Seems like that's too high up for me.
We didn't do too much research on that
on that
actually.
part.
So
So
I saw the video with Palma. Sure.
A lot, same.
Very, very much.
But so the perfect way for me, go back to that. Perfect way for me,
back.
go back here again. So would be to be somewhat neutral between the amount you go back here, you move a little bit this way and a little bit this way. then maybe this way more as you're coming to the surface. But initially, it shouldn't be more this way.
So steep.
So
You
have
have to
a
keep it more stable in back.
yes, it's a little bit more like almost you almost
When you're talking to your chest.
a little bit, just a little bit, instead of keeping it here. This looks like an inflexible swimmer.
At
You're
the
not
third-
flexible.
At the third turn, when I'm tired at the competition, I do this a lot because like this.
You're trying to use your body and not your
That's
legs.
where you lose in the race. Yeah, you got to get that tomorrow.
Okay. So I think you can work on these 3 points. Yeah, 1 point 10 yards, but for the turn itself.
Do my last turn because first two really
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 short.
close to the wall.
So to rotate bigger, and then start earlier with the kicking. That's what I do. That makes we have to check our kicking.
Do you do something else to check the size of the kicks of those feet?
This is on
Yeah, we have with the same actually, but what we do is with the old system.
Yeah.
And what we can do is simple.
Alte lefteer van elkaar met de allemaal te spieken.
Because it's calibrated.
You think you can do that?
Big shapes and small pieces.
I don't think we're going to be possible.
Παπάρ, γιατί έχουν τα λένε
זה נס פולי וסטיש. לגנץ.
עכשיו סיבוב פרפר של אנה.
Don't hit your
עושה
face.
קצת זום. בשביל לראות.
Helemaal in die volste arm.
Ja, en dit als je gaat
This is so much more.
Dit is
Crazy.
Ja, maar ze zit zo dicht op de muur omdat ze zo ver met die arm buigt.
Shoot your hips that high that long.
Ja, en dan moet je helemaal in.
Ja, want anders pas je daar niet meer tussen. Dus de afstand tussen de muur die wordt bepaald
Dus
door
nou
hoe
is wel
ver je
uit
met die
Ja,
arm
en
in
daarom
buigt.
duurt ook zo breed zo.
Ja, en daarom staat ze niet wel zo lang aan de muur.
Ja, ja, want ze hangen dan op. Dat helemaal naar binnen toe.
Ja, maar je
Dan
kunt...
moet je tussen passen,
Ja.
dus je moet je helemaal indrukken en daarna duurt het te lang voordat het trekt.
We understood everything.
Ja, you
Yes,
understand.
okay.
Yeah,
That's
of
it.
course.
Next swimmer.
Our Dutch viewers.
We've seen this more often, and it's you're not the only one who does this. Also, all good butterflies did what you do. You come very close to the wall. So
This
you-
is the third one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get at the first two I was far, so then I tried to go
Yeah, we
near,
can watch
but
now.
it
Yeah,
wasn't.
wait, we take the other one too.
Yeah.
It can be a certain mistake that we take the other one.
אנחנו מנסים להסתכל על
I
סיבוב
mean, I tried
נוסף.
to make it
be a little
even
bit-
better, but then it was too much.
Let's see.
לוקחים סיבוב אחר. אוקיי. בואו נראה.
Hetzelfde verhaal.
It sits so deep there.
I don't see a difference.
Okay.
No, what we
Nee?
see
Like
is
almost
that
relaxed,
if you go close to the wall,
Okay.
you have to tuck in a lot. And when you tuck in a lot and you're close to the wall, you almost can't push off. So what I would do is to stay further from the wall, tuck in. This arm helps to rotate, but here you can already start stretching
Yeah.
your
Okay.
legs. What you do is you wait till you're fully turned, and then you stretch your legs. But of course that takes time. And the game is not to turn, to rotate quick, it is to push off quick. So what you have to try is to be further from the wall, that you have space to bring your legs towards the wall. And before you touch the wall, you start already stretching your knees. Because if you wait, first you do this, and then you stretch, that takes all
A lot of time,
to
yeah.
go to the wall. So it feels a little bit strange, because you think, if I'm smaller, I rotate quicker. That's true. But it's the fact is not that you want to rotate fast, you want to be quick with your foot on the wall to push off. So the time between your hands and your feet, this, let's say the wall contact with the hands and later with your foot, is with, in your case, 1.3 seconds. You come from that till that. A normal swimmer, we measured your speed to swim 56.8 as a boy, youngster, but he did after one training 0.98.
Wow.
So that means 3/10 of a second what you can win only with actually doing not too much. It's only being focused on a little bit more distance and start stretching your knees earlier.
Yeah, so what you see, because actually the distance from the wall is determined by how much you tuck in your arms. So if you look at your video, so here your arms are stretched, but they tuck into your elbow is 90 degrees or maybe even less. So that means after your so that determines if you're close to the wall or further away. So what we think you need to do is not bend too much in the arms. Just keep them a little bit more stretched, because then it's easier to place your legs in between. There's more space for your legs, so you don't need to tuck in that much.
Okay.
Yeah, and then very important is that you tuck in with your hips, it's hip bending. You bend your knees, that's good because you want less resistance. But when you're halfway, you should already start stretching your legs so that you go quickly to the wall, because that takes you far too much time. That's really a lot of time. And it doesn't cost energy. It's not that you get more tired or anything, you're just winning time.
Okay.
That's good.
Go one more time. So yeah, so what you can do here is the right hand stays rigid. So
Yes.
it's
Yeah,
rigid
exactly.
and a little bit of give, that's all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it doesn't bend.
So
I
much.
think actually you could change this today.
Yes.
Yeah,
This isn't a big change.
Miss Kim told me yesterday about the hand, so.
And
now
And
you
then
have
this is
Miss Kim.
this is also super important. You see, do you touch on? Okay, here you tuck in maximum.
So
Yeah?
here
Almost
is the
always
start.
you're almost against your buttocks. Then you turn and you wait and you wait and you wait, and here you start stretching. But you could have started earlier, then you would have
And
been
then,
on the wall already.
yeah, and the
Okay.
feet time will be
Yeah.
much
Now,
shorter.
let me ask you, is this, go back to where she's just coming into the wall.
Coming into the wall.
Yeah, right here. So I feel like her, this stays too high in the water. She needs to bring this in as part of the movement. So right here, stop. So right here, this should have moved down some. She should be like bending from here to bring this in, because she's on the surface a long time here. I would say this movement of the
tailbone.
the tailbone is part of the needs to be added to your turn.
Okay.
You agree?
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, it's still too high.
And this is this is really
Plus you are too slow with your upper body, because if you start stretching your feet or your legs earlier, then they are even, because now with your upper body you're not ready to push off actually, because you're not in a streamlined position at all. So you need to combine the
The hand and the
distance
legs.
also with really moving your back fast backwards.
Okay.
So what I suggest is that you stay a little bit longer and a little slightly back. The legs come under. Here, this arm helps to rotate. Then you stretch and you help this arm to be quicker with the upper body that you are. Because if you're not, if the feet are there but your upper body is like this, then you go to the surface. That's what you don't want. So
Wait.
if your feet go faster, the rotation also has to be faster.
And for the sake of the coaches on that are watching, what causes this is air, the need for air, the want for air, the human instinct for air. So some thousands of laps where you touch the wall, your goal is to get air more than anything else in practice. So you do thousands of repetitions like that. So doing slow, crappy turns in practice makes you worse and it gets you in bad habits. So one of the ways to do it is to have people work on their turns with no breath. So just so you don't get a breath on the wall, and keep your face in here and don't inhale at all, and just practice turns without breathing. That'll take the need to sort of open the chest up to get air all away. So that's one of the tips you can use for creating better habits within turns.
Yeah. Thank you.
And definitely from the time your hand touches to your foot, I'd say your foot leaves even, but for sure when your foot touches,
No, this
under
is-
1 second.
This leaves.
This is
Yeah,
leaves.
foot leaves.
Ah, it leaves.
Yeah, there's a pressure plate too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you getting the amount of pressure or just the timing?
No, we also have the amount.
The force, like how.
We have it.
Yeah, but we,
Yeah.
sorry?
Can we see also
Ah,
the
sorry,
Yeah,
yeah.
of course.
אנחנו עוברים גם לראות קצת מתחת למים.
So you want to have, how old are you, Anna?
26.
So Anna's 26 and she's one of those eager learners right now. Anybody on the LA Current, she always wants to know information, wants to know what she can do better. Every race she says, what can I do better, coach? She's very motivated. Impressive.
זה האנדרווטר שלה.
Now you're finding out a lot.
זה האנדרווטר. בואו נראה מה יש להם להגיד.
Super good. Yeah. That's really good. Because what you sometimes see is that the butterflies, when they start the first stroke after the underwater phase, let's say when they resurf, that they put up their head and they push downwards instead of keeping their head low and pulling forward.
Again, air.
Great. Yeah.
Again, most of them get air.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's why when you're coaching young kids, don't let them breathe the first stroke. Just get them in the habit of no breath the first stroke
I
on
usually
butterfly.
do the opposite.
I don't care if Michael Phelps breathed every stroke.
Yeah.
Don't breathe the first stroke.
Been
on
dropping
butterfly.
her
Two
head a lot.
kids.
Yeah.
She's been working a lot about
But
keeping
for
it
the
calm.
first stroke is better that than the other one. Yeah. But for your turn, so we said yesterday you can win something in your start, maybe a couple of tenths of seconds are in it at least.
And then
And
your
with
turn.
your turn, yeah, and it's not an exceptional swimmer that we had, and he does around 1 second, and we do 1:32, so there's a couple of tenths of a second to win only by changing technique. So that's 5/10 of a second, so we are almost
55.
Sarah Solstrom, watch out.
Olympic medalist.
yeah.
Ah.
Third turn.
Yeah, but the names are
Three?
mixed up, so I'm searching for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not you.
No. קיפר חתירה עכשיו. אנחנו מחפשים את קריסטיאן.
Iedereen mist het.
Ah ja, I see.
That's why the names
Oh, sorry. Undid it.
No, it's okay.
Ja.
אוקיי. קריסטיאן, חתירה. נעשה זום.
Die eerste kick te doen.
Hij is sowieso best slot.
This is the one that everyone has.
And this is the turn for 46.
Deze hoek. Klein. Mag even met de rug doen.
Ja, en hij strekt helemaal niet.
Nee.
Dus de,
Hij
bij,
is
bij
zo.
hem zit
Ah,
exactly.
Yeah, so you do exactly what we told now. We're a little bit close to the wall,
Yeah.
I think, but that's not only. What you see is that you stretch your
Okay.
hip without stretching your knees. So I can do this, or I can do this. I can better show you.
בוא נסתכל על מה הוא מתכוון.
If I'm on my back next to the wall,
Yeah.
I can stretch only my hips. That's what you do, and I do this. So then actually the power goes downward. But if I stretch my hips and my knees, then it goes towards the wall. And what you do is this, you touch the wall and then you stretch. And that's a mistake. That's really, so you, and I think if you open up more here, so you turn bigger, let's say, and then when you go to the wall, you stretch your knees, now that goes with enormous power towards the wall. So, because now, what you do is to turn, you wait till you touch and then you stretch your knees. And you could already stretch in the air. The first time that you do it later, you have to do it quite, because otherwise you break your ankle. Because I said to Femke Heemskerk, she did the same. It was for the Olympics in 2016 something or 12. 12. So I said to her, what you have to do is to stretch your, but she bumped into the wall with enormous power. She broke almost her ankle because I told her to stretch the knees. And that's what you don't expect. Normally you wait till you touch and then you stretch. But you can imagine if you go to the air and you kick, as you kick to the wall, that goes with power. Especially for you.
He explains this really well. John T. Skinner explains this, doing this really well. He has a whole presentation on that movement of going. So he may be able to follow up with him. He can probably give you some nice, like how to.
I can give you some small exercises in water to learn it quite quick. Right. It's not so difficult. But that is guaranteed that you the power is bigger and you start stretching earlier. So you also, if you go a little bit further from the wall, you also win 15 centimeters.
You know how long his limbs are.
Yeah. So you can win quite a bit.
Yeah, and it's times 2.
It's times 2. You don't have to swim it and you come back. If you turn 15 centimeters more from the wall, it's actually 30 centimeters.
So what would you say where is the power? So from how, like 90-degree angle, or what's the angle?
Yeah, that's something that maybe you can explain.
Now I think it should be slightly, because it's
more open than 90.
Yeah. If you jump highest when you start from the smallest angles. So like this is the. I'm a bad athlete as well, but then you jump higher than when you jump from 90 degrees. But it also costs more time. So you, although you reach a higher force and power, it takes more time and you don't catch up with that time if you would do that in the water. So probably your hip angle should be around, let's say 100 degrees or something, between 100 and maybe even 110.
And the knee?
Because maybe the push-off is not as forceful as it would be when you're closer to the wall, but you are just much shorter on the wall. No. So your contact time is much shorter.
And you just swim less. Yeah. So it's if you, let's say if you turn 30 centimeters earlier and you deliver a little quietly less force, then the question is, am I going to catch up with that 60 centimeters I want? Because it's 30 there and 30 back. That's the trade-off. So you have to find that out. What leads to the fastest 5-meter time, for example.
But with you, because we measured the contact time and it's 0.42 or something, from first foot contact until you're from the wall again. While most athletes, freestyle athletes here, they do something between 0.24 and 0.3. So they're all below 0.3. So that there's really a tenth of a second at least to win. And you swim 21:31.
I'm sorry?
We swim 21:31?
21:44.
No, that's a long course, but short course 20.6, 7?
So imagine that you win 12 hundredths of a second is very useful. And that I could be in this point.
And also for you to finish the turn, but you also see, again, it's biomechanical point of view, but something to test out whether you shouldn't start earlier with your kick.
I would start. If I have to, I would say, because you are very forceful. So, and it's
only one turn.
Yeah, it's one turn and it's 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's divided between a lot of arms and strong legs, but here the legs are important.
אז כמו שהם אמרו, להתחיל את עבודת הרגליים הרבה יותר מוקדם. לא לגלוש כל כך הרבה זמן, בטח ב-50 מטר.
Ja, dat is de
פול גדול מדי בברך.
Do you have questions? He's very inquisitive swimmer normally. Christian, how are you processing this? I'm interested in your mind because you're like a coach and you think. So
I don't know. I agree. I agree that what he says. I always feel like I'm taking too much time on the wall, and I'm always too close, and I'm afraid to be like
Too far.
further because sometimes I don't know. I just miss it, and I feel that if I'm closer, I get more power. But it's not.
But that's true. It's not that what you feel is correct.
Yeah.
So what you feel that I deliver more power, that's absolute. Because power is the mean speed times the time that you push.
Yeah.
So what you feel is correct. But the question is, it's not a game who delivers more power, it's the game who's fastest to the other wall.
Yeah.
So it has to be the shortest time, not the most power.
Yeah.
And that's the trade-off. And I would say, that, now, I dare to say that it's faster. Yeah, because we tested it several times.
Yeah.
Almost all of the athletes and everybody got faster by it. Yeah. But
yeah. And that feeling of more power, like your feeling, is very normal in everything. So it's almost like even if you look at a high catch, like the beautiful high catch, but at some point staying here longer isn't necessarily the end all be all. You have to let it go and come back. So feel what you feel is more power here, but it's like overreaching and backstroke. You feel really good. You feel like there's a lot of power. It's just not directed right. So it's and it's hard to measure because this do like a flag to flag turn isn't scientific enough.
No.
And that's all we have with a stopwatch to do.
Yeah.
So a lot of times there's a misread of athletes for sure on what is best for them. And this is really high level, cutting edge stuff. I don't know that this particular move on the wall is that critical for little kids to learn. But things like being on the wall for less than 1 second in a short axis turn should be something that they should be able to do. And if they're more than 1.2 in practice, then they're taking a bath on their turns, like somebody in this room does occasionally.
Yeah, and actually expect with little kids that they turn faster because they have less resistance. They should be quicker.
And a lot of the people that are interested that would watch this are in the college system. It's life and death for 25 yards. You can imagine that less than 1 second on the wall.
Yeah.
The same idea. I heard more open on the short axis turn and more open on the long axis turn, which is very interesting. I don't think we're teaching that. I'm not teaching that.
No, we didn't hear. I have to admit that I was the teacher of the coaches that teach here. And I told them in the 90s, be as small as possible because you rotate and it sounds very logical.
Yeah.
But it's not logical if you think about it, because if you rotate much quicker than needed, that's not needed. And second, it's not about the rotation, it's about how fast can you put your foot on the wall. That's the thing, and when can you start pushing. That's it.
But surely you've measured like people with closer to the wall, further touching the wall with an hour gauge, and it's pretty close.
It's very hard to do because it's very hard to sort of systematically
Calibrate that,
But it's what we just discussed. If you're closer, then the force is higher, but in the end, the 5 in, 5 out times, they are often not faster. So they are faster if you stay a little bit further from the wall.
It's sometimes also a block. People are practicing, for example, to have a block time under 7. They say, I want 0.65. But also there comes how much power can you deliver. So, the fastest can be if you almost hang off the block and you fall in, you have a block time of 0.3. But there is no push-off anymore. So you have to find the proper balance in it. And I know that now we define that you have to turn bigger and push earlier, and the release have to be fast. That you can just capture with the camera on the water, or with the camera what we have, and you give that.
And you guys are all taller people. I think will get even more benefit from that, because if you're real tall, you're getting like this to unwind. It's like
It's
maybe here you begin to be effective.
And more from the wall is only more distance.
It was interesting.
you can turn it
when we
earlier.
first watched his turn, I was like, what I love about your turn is that you don't get so small. You don't put your head down, and you keep your hips more open and drive your heels over. But then you're still saying it's
Yeah, it's
It's too much,
So-
yeah.
upper leg and the body
Yeah.
is too small. It's,
Yeah.
it's like this and should be here, almost 90. Because you just go to the wall and you start pushing already in the air and you go. That's what I would advise.
Are you, can I ask one thing here? Can I go back to the when he's entering the wall, and I'll just to challenge you for the future. I don't know if you measured this yet, but this will be interesting for your thought. So a big part of the turn to me is again bad habits of breathing all the way into the wall, and then lifting up to look at the wall in order to measure where you are. Now I do my turn. And
Yeah,
so
he has to
many
do it.
swimmers do this. He's not doing it right here because he's being videoed. But anyway, so right here, what we're trying to teach is if your body
The
you sort
submerge.
of go like this and go into turn. He actually does it here pretty well. So actually the water here is hitting him on the back of the shoulders and helping him in essence to make this circular movement versus when you go here and then pull up to the wall. Killer. You see people get killed on that.
Yeah.
Tomorrow you'll see people get killed when they lift up instead
Yeah,
of.
then I have a lot of resistance.
There is one
Ideally,
swimmer that can get away with it.
Ideally, you pull your. Who does?
Caleb. Caleb is doing this.
Yeah.
Like he's using this to rotate
He
faster.
has other things that is a benefit.
Yeah, but here you're like
You didn't see it?
focusing.
Like that is.
Maybe this is not the first thing to focus on, but here your legs you don't keep it.
Okay, good. This is good. The kick slows down. Oh yeah, that left leg.
No.
Kick.
Yeah.
I don't even like that little dolphin kick. You
Yeah.
shouldn't have to dolphin kick to the wall.
Maybe
Now,
less.
or keep it small.
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 kick.
There you
but
stop
not
for
deep.
Yeah,
one
not
dolphin
deep.
kick.
Yeah.
Small kick.
You don't want to be like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that kick helps to keep the hip angle open. You kick down and then the hip angle stays bigger.
Yeah, but this is really
Yeah,
good.
if you now would kick and not bend here but open already, then you
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
worse. And especially knee angle, that should, together with opening the hips, you should open the knees.
So his feet are going to be a little bit higher.
Higher.
A little bit higher.
And there'll be more leg opening above the surface of the
Exactly,
water. Once
exactly.
it's tight, we'll see more leg.
Exactly is what you win.
Yeah, you're going to feel like you're pushing off less
Yeah.
for sure. It's going to feel weird.
Good.
I'm gonna try it.
Well, I did like different turns.
I'll just let's take a
It's okay. We can have an opinion on it. These guys have seen everything. And really, one thing about the Caleb thing you just mentioned, this is sort of the anti-Caleb conversation because these guys, unlike us, coaches, we look at the model and try to teach off the model. These guys look at thousands of turns and thousands of starts and look at what the consistent changes are that cause the numbers to be better, whether it's Caleb or your 14-year-old that can turn in
Yeah, and
0.98.
what you often see that we also have, I won't mention name, but a former world record holder came here and you expect that they do everything right because it's Caleb Dressel. How can
Yeah.
you make a mistake? But it's not, sometimes you see somebody coming from the block and the technique is not so good, but still he's far up front. But it can also be that he's super explosive
Yeah.
and has only wide muscles and fast muscles. He could have done even better than what he does. So looking at a former top athlete or an athlete is not always the best
right way, yeah.
If you copy Peter van der Hoogland with his start, that's not smart.
Even
He
stroke-
swims really
even-
fast,
even
but,
stroke
But the
his,
start.
his start was not so fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
if you only look at the end time,
Yeah,
that's not smart.
no, of course. נסתי הסיבוב גב חזה.
Do you ever minute knees back to breaststrokes?
It's not our specialty.
A new market for you. This is a popular term to learn. Give your opinion off of this.
It's not my specialty, not his, because we don't do often.
But there are things you can say.
General things you can say is that, kijk, now this arm also helps to rotate it, but here tucking in, all right,
Too tight?
fine, but also here counts. Why
Yeah,
do you
she-
open your legs and not your knees? If you, it's what I said. I was laying on the floor. You,
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah,
remember?
yeah,
So you can do this, but you can also do this. That's a huge difference. And you know that
כאילו את פותחת נורא את ה...
that's time loss.
במקום.
It's time for free, probably. If you stretch your legs earlier and open the knees, then you go with more speed towards the wall. And more speed is more impact, and more impact is more speed in that direction. That's probably...
But then your right hand should be faster to the streamline.
Yeah.
Because now she waits with the right
she's
hand.
waiting,
She's waiting with the feet to her right hand.
Yeah.
You see how long does it take her?
That takes long.
Yeah, you're not getting. I've never seen this. This is good. So your right hand can, instead of trying to come above the water and feel above the water, just bring it right here. Like bring it small
and quick.
So the right hand small. Don't try to keep it up here above the water.
There's a lot of resistance.
Yeah.
That's the change.
Because she's already very deep in the water.
So. Right there. Go back a couple. You see air coming out of her nose. So I would say that's another benefit of the nose clip. You wouldn't have to blow any air out on the turn even, which I again haven't seen.
No, I'm always blowing out air without.
Yeah, you just need to, or maybe learn how to only give a puff of air instead of a full exhale. Because you want to keep that air for the pull out for breaststroke. Because in the IMs, that's where you struggle a little bit.
בוא נראה, נמשיך בסיבובים של נסטיה, נותנים הערה קטנה על כל דבר.
And I like how you touch low.
Yeah, I like it. No, it was very good.
We're noticing you touch low, it's because it's part of your turn.
You already start rotating before you even touch the wall. That's what Brett doesn't have.
And when he does it, he touches backwards.
Yeah.
Like behind him.
Well, that's how I stopped it.
Are you getting feedback? You move it a lot. They tell you, quit moving the damn
No, but I get like comments of things that they... I mean, it doesn't matter.
This is where I want you to touch.
But the video is pretty still, like I'm not moving too much.
Give me feedback on that. Rate him between 1 and 10 his videography skills.
We can watch it afterwards, David.
Okay, let's be on this.
We are on this.
Let's go, because these guys got to go.
They're gonna. The idea
We're
was
going to do the one kick out thing next, right? And then that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I think y'all could use
What I
that.
would like to do is, if you want, a little bit for you with the
Yeah.
turn, there's a couple of simple exercises you can do at home or another moment. Then for you that you start stretching the leg early.
Do I have to start kicking earlier, like you said that or not?
That's maybe worth it to check.
And then we'll do the measure between the big kick and the small kick. That's pretty simple measure.
That's simple. We can do just 3.
And you can give an opinion afterwards. You're going to change anything before the meet anyway, but we'll get an opinion afterwards. So it'll be in the report.
Can we see from the previous day the breakout from the start? Tell us some things about the breakout.
Can you stay in here with him after they go out and get recorded? That work okay? Try to maximize time here.
Yeah.
What do
What we can do now, the system is just running, so you can use that for feedback on turns. And here we can discuss more if you want on the computer.
So that a couple start training.
Turn.
And then it's a little bit up to you because we have things for starts, we have things for turns. That's the point. So you can make a choice because everything is not possible. And then it would be great. Later we will send you a PDF file for a swimmer where we write down just bullet wise, okay, this and this for turns, this is for starts. And then
we will also have the videos.
Yeah, of course. You get the videos, you get the analysis, and you get the PDF with some points on it, with a picture, and then some advice that you can take home or to a
Can I do you have also things to tell us and also record about our stroke?
Out of let's say measuring, not out of experience, yes. But if I'm very honest, then I would say that's.
Well, you agreed with the stroke, how like your stroke's not your issue. You know, I think the stroke is your butterfly stroke.
Because the stroke is 80 meters, that's why.
No, it's true. I mean, you can win 5/10 on a second with a start and turn.
The stroke is not 80 meters if you go fast underwater, Anna.
Five tenths of a second.
That's
why I asked.
Well, we can take a look if you want.
Yeah, I would like to.
If you see things, we will say it. But this is more, let's say, based on science and the other on experience. Because you look thousands of videos, but it's not so hard. The things we say as what we say now.
Okay.
But I think the kick out test will be good for you. If you kick bigger kick or smaller kick.
Yeah, I want to do both.
I know you want to do
Okay. What we do is
Because you do want, with who do you want to do the...
all of them.
All four.
Shall we do that first? Because otherwise we won't make it in time.
What is it?
Small kick,
small
big
kick or the
kick.
big kick.
And giving feedback which is
And
faster
some-
for them. Or more powerful or faster?
Yeah, we can do faster
Faster, okay.
and bigger.
Yeah.
And maybe for you that's not so. Let's just that we practice. En jij gewoon de opneemt en de frictie, otherwise we staan.
Let's see the drill
Ja.
for Christian.
Can she do it on
I
the
want to see the
back?
turn.
Yeah, the turn drill I want to see. עכשיו אנחנו נראה תרגיל סגנון לסיבוב חתירה לקריסטיאן, לעזור לו לפתוח את הרגליים קצת יותר מהר. אוקיי, בואו נלך איתו.
Without the wall, and just there, and you make a tumble turn, and you end with your shin on the water surface in an angle 90, 90, 90. You understand?
Neutral position.
Yeah, just use the position. You make a salto. You know what salto
And you
is.
finish like
Overhead.
this.
And you end in this position with your in the or with your chin on the water surface, and you look at your legs. That's it. Good. And then 90, 90. Good. That's
Okay, let's see Christian.
What's the box for?
That's a box for the side cameras.
That
we have
moves?
there we have six cameras in there. Well, we build it because if we think of tomorrow a camera there, we drill a hole and we put an extra camera. And it's there also. If somebody says, oh, here a camera, I drill a hole, because every plate can be exchanged.
לא, מה צריך לעשות שם?
It's like
מה צריך לעשות במים?
for lights.
Yeah.
What I've done when I try to teach this a little bit, when I try to get them to go to the wall harder, is that sometimes I put a
Yeah, a pad or also the normal turning plates. You hear it.
It's easier to react, it's less fear.
Yeah.
Okay, Christian.
Just a normal rotation over the head, and then your shin's on the water. Yeah.
I think there's more of your important parts of your race.
Two hands, doesn't matter. Yeah. And now quicker, and super fast in the position. Yeah, very, very quick. Yeah. And then you do your arms, you do a small butterfly kick, and you make sure that you have your shins on the water surface. Yeah? Just the shins on the water surface. 90-90, yeah? Perfect. Okay, good enough. Good. Now we go here, and you do the same thing, and you place your feet on the wall, but you have to touch with the back side of your foot and your big toe on the wall. All of the foot, the whole foot has to be on the wall, and it has to be 90-90-90. Yeah? Because you can't do mistakes.
And you can measure that too.
You see? You see, that's difficult. So you have to practice to find the distance that you can be instantly.
Flat on.
If you are too far, it's like this. You know?
That's big. That's a big observation.
Okay.
Okay, better,
And
yeah.
what you can do is to see, because you can see your own legs, and you have to be still. So stop and be like this.
Freeze.
And you look, freeze on that moment, that you see your chins, the ass is down, and you see that your foot is flat. Totally flat. Like that, like that. That's how they have to end.
But
It's only possible.
But under the water.
Yeah, like that.
I will say Donis, a Russian backstroker, used to do
Right.
backstroke turns
Same
like that, where his toes were up in the
Who is it?
on the pad. Donis, the old backstroker, you probably raced him. He probably
Yeah.
would kill people in the
Perfect.
sprints, and he
And now
turned his
you
half his
speed
foot
up.
out of the
So you're
water.
going
and
to
he'd
do
kill
it
people.
quick.
The Russian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I raced him. I raced him in Dubai World Championship 2010.
That's the sound
And you
want to
see
hear.
now he keeps this bigger. That's only possible with
Now
that.
that's the sound you want to hear.
Now go 1 meter backwards. 1 meter backwards.
So it's just a teaching
Stop.
sequence here.
Yeah.
So it's
And
really-
then you make one stroke.
בעצם מה שאנחנו רואים פה זה תרגול של איך אנחנו רוצים להגיע לסיבוב, לקיפר בחתירה. בסדר? בעצם אנחנו מחפשים בהתחלה סיבוב כמובן בלי קיר, אחר כך קיפר עם הקיר, אחר כך עכשיו אנחנו מטר מהקיר. הרעיון הוא להגיע לקיר.
And now you make some mistakes, you see? So now you see that your heel was not on the wall. So that means that it's for you difficult to find the right distance.
Yeah.
So try to find with that one stroke that you end up exactly. And then so. Yeah?
בגדול אנחנו רוצים שכף הרגל, לפי מה שהם אומרים, כף הרגל תהיה לגמרי ישרה על הקיר. מה זאת אומרת ישרה על הקיר? עקב ואצבע הגדולה נוגעות בקיר ביחד.
On your own and with a coach, you don't need me. It's just the order of exercise. Now, you try to focus that you turn, flat foot and your arms are completely in a streamlined position. That's all.
עכשיו אנחנו מנסים להגיע, לעשות את זה מספיק מהר
Just the one
כדי
stroke,
להגיע,
but you focus on.
כדי להגיע גם לסטרימליין פוזישן בהגעה לקיר. מה זה אומר? שהרגליים נוגעות בקיר, הידיים בחץ. זה מה שאנחנו רוצים לראות.
Yeah. Super happy. Super good. Very good. So now we make the next step. You push off in a streamlined position on the back. Normally you don't do, but it's just to have the...
אוקיי, זה השלב האחרון. זה השלב האחרון, אנחנו דוחפים גם את הקיר.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Now and that you have to find every time that you feel, hey, I start to do again that I tuck in too much. You take back the exercise. You do a couple of turns on your own, just close to the wall. That you make it your own behavior. Yeah. This is what you should do. And the last step for me is that you
הנה,
start
זה
here,
עכשיו.
you swim a couple of strokes. And you do repetitive, okay, I stop with my foot against the wall. Then I do the same thing and I lay ready. And then I do the last one with the push
Again, to find the place.
To find the place. To find the distance.
That feels much better, yeah.
That's all. Yeah? Try it a couple of times.
Nice.
So why don't we put him before?
Yeah, like that. Exactly.
Instead of
Exactly. That's it.
same effort.
That's the only difference. And what you need is if you're touching here, like this, or I do the same, what I do like that. Yeah, that's 15 centimeters. With the width. We're doing 0. So 15 there and 15 there is 30 centimeters.
For just placing your feet.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and then, of course, you have to find out that you can still deliver enough force. But that's up to you. Yeah? I can't tell you how to do it. But this is the technique. And this you can do with youngsters also.
Yeah, it's very easy.
So when I see it, somebody
Yeah?
Much harder to push off from here than here.
Yeah.
It's easier to lift the wall.
To leave the wall. And what you will have is if you go like this to the wall, and then you push off, or you do this. A karateka does do this.
Yeah.
You know, he stretches the hip, and
then
the knee.
boom, yeah.
And that goes hard. So if you do that to the wall, then there's much more impact on the wall. And the point is that you should hear it. So the coach just has to listen. As he hears it, then it's good. Yeah? And be careful because you are super explosive. So that if you have
Don't break your ankle.
I would say don't try it at home. Do it in stepwise that you are sure that you don't over exaggerate it because you can break your foot. Yeah. So you can coach him on that.
Yeah.
If you see it, if it's not 1990, then I would say no good.
Back to the first size. Yeah, but now it was smaller, slower.
It's really a product of having touchpads in practice, so you actually get the sound.
It might help.
Yeah.
And you can just say to them, they will make more sound.
Without breaking their ankle.
Yeah, without breaking the ankle, because that's what I said. We had it seriously with she almost.
You also could work on learning this with shoes on.
Yeah, for example.
Use shoes to teach it, because also you have to bring your feet over. It's a little harder to bring your feet
Yeah, it's a little heavier, so they have to.
protect your feet a little bit.
Yeah, sounds good. Oh!
Here we go.
Wait, what did you say? You want us from the 200 now?
200. חבר'ה, אנחנו מסיימים את הקליניקה הזאת, מקווה שנהנתם. אני אשתדל לעשות עוד איזה לייב אולי באחד הימים, אולי מהחימום בגמר, נראה אם זה יהיה מחר, אולי מחרתיים. זה לייב מהחימום של הקבוצה, שתוכלו לראות, להכיר קצת את השחיינים, וביי בינתיים. הסרטון כמובן יעלה באתר האיגוד.